From Daily Forex, this is Chris. I'm taking a look at the dollar rand. You can see the dollar South African rand formed a hammer during the previous session, a shooting star on Friday, and now it looks like we're going to test the top of the shooting star. If we can break out above the highs of the day, probably going to go looking towards 1720 or so. We do have more of a range between, like, say, 16 and a quarter and right around 1775. Kind of a sloppy range, but it is a range nonetheless. 50-day EMA, the 50% Fibonacci retracement level, 200-day EMA, all in the same area. Plenty of reasons for technicians to like the idea of going higher. The South African rand, of course, is an emerging market currency, and with Trump tweeting out that his negotiators were not going to be negotiating stimulus between now and the presidential election, has a lot of people freaked out. What goes on in the U.S. economy has a major knock-on effect around the world, and when you start talking about commodity currencies and emerging markets like South Africa, that has an enormous effect. This could cause a chain reaction where the U.S. dollar continues to appreciate, due to safety trade, making South African debt more expensive. It's this big, nasty snowball of pain. So at this point, I think in the very least, we look like we are going to be running to the safety of the U.S. dollar, and a bounce is very likely.